All right, so today we're going to be going over how to structure an upper body day in the weight room, a lower body day in the weight room, and then a total body training day in the weight room. So we're going to go over all three of those days in depth. But first, before we start, we're just going to do a quick overview of how to structure a weight room session. So I went over this in another video in depth. It's on the Performance Center. So if you want to learn more about each of these two parts at the top, check it out. But first, we're going to start off with a warm-up. After we get done with our warm-up, we're gonna get into our primer. And then when we get done with our primer, we're ready to go for the lift. We're gonna get into our lift. Now, when it comes to the lifts that we do in the weight room, there's three ways that you can structure your tiers in the weight room. So following a tier system. Now, the tier system is just a way to structure and organize your exercises that you do to best fit what you're going for that day. So we have three different ways to structure a tier. And the first way, it's just a single tier. So you're just doing one movement in that tier. So in this tier, we're just doing a squat. When we get done with our squat, we move on to our next tier, which can be something like an RDO or whatever it is, but you're just segmenting each movement in its own tier. Now, this is gonna be best if you're chasing pure strength or pure output because you get all that recovery without the use of any filler or supersets. After that, we have our paired tier. So this is otherwise known as supersets. Now, the superset is where you do a movement first, and right after you do that first movement, you immediately go after to the next movement in that tier. So you do one set of here, one set of here, and you go back to the top and repeat for the reps and sets that you have. Now, this is best to use if you're trying to get more work done in less time, or if you're trying to maximize the output you get from movement here. So something like contrast pairing, post-activation potentiation, or just to maximize the second movement. Or it's really good to get a lot of capacity work in, so you're doing more work in less time. Then you have our complex tier. So this is going to be a tricep or more. So you're pairing more than three movements together in the same complex. So you do one set here, one set here, one set here, go back to the top and repeat. Now, complex tiers are going to be the best thing you can use if you're short on time, if you want to get a lot of work done, or you really want to challenge your ability to recover from repeated bouts and challenge your work capacities. All right, so now we're gonna go over how to structure your upper body training days. Now, your upper body training day is gonna be defined by 4 key movements. It's really 2, but they can be subsetted into 4 different movements. Now, these 4 key movements are gonna be a horizontal push. So we're talking about movements like your bench presses, your push-ups, incline, things like that. And your vertical push, it's gonna be your movements like an overhead press, landmine press, anything that goes over the head. 3, it's gonna be your horizontal pull. So dumbbell row, bent over row, inverted rows, movement like that. And then 4, your vertical pulls, your chin ups, your pull downs, things where you're pulling from the top down. You're gonna base your upper body days around these 4 key movements, and it's gonna cover almost everything that you really need from an upper body training day. And not only that, but you're gonna get a lot of output from these 4 key movements. Now, around these 4 key movements, we have our filler work. So this is gonna be the more local single joint movements that we're talking about. Now, with your fillers, we're talking about movements like where you're working on just your arms, your upper mid back, your shoulders, your serratus, your wrist grips, and your pecs. So this is going to be a more localized approach that can be used to supplement the upper body. Now, a key note with the upper body is that the upper body can usually take on more volume because it's not going to be as neurally taxing as the lower body. So you may get 5 reps out of a squat and be super taxed, but you may be able to get and train more volume with your upper body movements like a bench, and especially the pulls, because you won't get as much global output and fatigue from your upper body movements as you would your lower body movements. So definitely can take on more volume and really push the upper boundaries of how much total work you're getting with the upper body. All right, so now that we understand the 4 key movements and the fillers, we're gonna go over how to put it all together and create your own upper body training day. Now, we're just gonna use this little workout here as an example, but I'm gonna show you how easy it is to literally create an upper body workout for yourself in like seconds. So 4 key movements are horizontal push, vertical push, horizontal pull. We're just gonna start off by segmenting the a horizontal push and a vertical pull as their own tiers, and then pairing the vertical push and horizontal pull. I personally like to pair what I don't use as my main movements together in its own tier. So if I wanna use a bench and a chin up as my main movements, I'll superset the vertical push and horizontal pull together. Something real simple like that. But say my horizontal push, I want to use a bench press for that movement. So the first movement I use is going to be a bench press. Now say I really want to maximize the output that I get from this bench press. So I might superset this bench press with a push-up plyometric. And this is gonna maximize the horizontal output that I get from this tier, and this completes my first tier. Then I get into my vertical pull tier, so my second tier of this workout, and I do chin-ups. I do weighted chin-ups. Now here, I don't really care about the output. I more care about basic strength, foundational strength, pulling strength. But I might want to superset this with a filler. So I might want to superset this with a mid upper back movement. So I might do face pulls. So I'm supersetting a strength chin up, my main movement, with a filler with my face pulls. Now this is going to complete my tier 2. Then I get into tier 3, and this is my vertical push and horizontal pull. So let's say, for example, I want to use a half kneeling landmine press as my vertical push, and for my horizontal pull, I might do a dumbbell row. Now with this in mind, I've completed all 4 of my key movements in my upper body day within seconds. Now from here, I want to get more work in, because we know that the upper body can take on more volume because the output's not that high. So let's say I want to get some more upper body work in because I really want to look jacked. So I might add in an extra tier to work on some of my weaknesses and just train arms, because there's nothing better than training arms, looking swole, and feeling good about yourself. So let's say that my weakness is going to be my upper mid back. I might do some prone YTWs as a movement for my last tier, and then again I might do a bicep curl and a tricep extension just to finish it off, a couple AMRAP sets, something like that. It really is this simple when it comes to an upper body day. You find your 1 to 2 main movements, use those to be their standalone tiers, and then you can do supersets or trisets towards the end of your workouts to really get a lot of local fatigue, get jacked, and get a lot of work done in minimal time. All right, so in summary, how to structure your upper body day. It's gonna be summarized by the 4 key movements: horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, and vertical pull. Work around those 4 key movements, and then work around that with everything else. 2, use fillers as needed. So once you identify your 4 key movements and what they're gonna be, use fillers to work around that and get some more localized work in. 3, with the upper body, although you can get a lot of output, it's generally gonna be less output than you would get from your lower body movement. So with less output means that you can take on more volume. And then 4, use your tiers as needed. So again, single tiers for maximum weight lifted, maximum output. Supersets for contrast pairing or to get a lot of work done in less time. You can also pair a vertical push, vertical pull, or any of the 2 things of push and a pull together in the same tier. Or utilize trisets and complex tiers to get a lot of work done in less time. Again, improve your capacity, use it as finishers for like direct arm work, shoulder work, upper back work, and then use it to take a more localized approach to honestly just get jacked, because upper body day, as mentioned, you can take on more fatigue, and it's really nice to look good, feel good, and get absolutely jacked from an upper body training day at the end of it.